Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. In this video I'm going to be having a look at my Air Arms Prosport. Now I've done a few videos in the last couple of days. They'll be coming out over a couple of weeks I expect on YouTube. Putting scopes on guns. I got some scopes from my local gun shop. They had boxes of spare ones, so off I trotted and got myself a few, and now I'm having the joyous experience of mixing and matching my scopes to guns. I love doing this. It's my equivalent of playing with dollies, I suppose. I'm dressing up my guns in various scopes. I've done a few already. I've still got a few to go, but I was looking for a match for my Prosport. Now, I dug into my collection of magazines, air rifle magazines, and I mean, this one's a little bit dog-eared. I've got Airgunner here from June 1996. Now, on the front page, you'll see whatever freebie. Oh, a scope key was the freebie. They always used to have free stuff on magazines. It was awesome, but it was held on with sellotape. So the sellotape's taken off part of that bit, but it's first photos of the new Air Arms Prosport. This was 1996. It's like, oh man. And I've got one, and this is an early one, and it's awesome. But because this is the magazine where they just came out, if we go to Uttings, the magazines were so good that the adverts were always in the same place and you could sit and dribble on them. I love it. The Air Arms Prosport. Okay, it's not even a photo. That's a TX200 there, but it's newsflash. There, newsflash. Arriving this month from Air Arms TX Prosport. Reserve your gun now. Now, it was and it is a TX Prosport. We forget that. Oh, it's just a Prosport. It's a TX Prosport. It's a TX inside. So we didn't even have a price. You know, no price. We didn't know. So I've got to be careful with the cover of this one. It's slightly, was it dogged, foxed, badgered, and a little bit hippoed, if we're honest, that one. But it is 28 years old, and it's been read many, many times. So that was that, and then we can skip forward. I was just trying to find something that would include one, so we skip forward to 97 when they're available. Let's have a little look at the advert here. So, Airgun Centre are at the front this time. Air Arms Prosport with Simmons Pro mounts, Simmons Whitetail Classic 3.5 by 10 by 50. Oh no. Oh. Right, okay. So anyway, a Prosport with a Whitetail Classic 3.5 to 10 by 50 was 587 quid. 587. That was in 1997. They are cheaper now, I tell you. They're cheaper now in real terms. Why the dismay? Why the dismay? Because I've got here an Optima 3 to 9 by 45 Moonlighter. This is what I'm going to put on this gun, and I've just seen there the 3.5 to 10 by 50 Whitetail Classic, and I know there was one or two of those in those boxes of scopes down at the gun shop that I did the video of the other week. I'm going to have to go back down there, aren't I? I'm going to have to. It's got to be right. What I'm doing, I suppose a lot of us do it as we get older. There were things we wanted when we were young, when we were in our teens, we were in our 20s, and we couldn't afford them. At the time, we were too busy getting by, you know, surviving, paying the bills, starting families, things like that. We didn't have the spare money. And now you got a little bit of spare cash. You know, you can buy these guns second hand. This is the top of the tree gun from 1997, and with a WTC on the top of it. That was the top thing. But I'll have a look. I might be changing this scope, but today this is still going to be a top combo. And a Moonlighter on top of a Prosport. It's still a great combo, and it is of its time. And that's what I'm doing. I'm creating combos that I wanted back in the day. Now, interestingly, my uncle Simon got a Prosport when they first came out, and it was an absolutely fantastic gun. But he's left-handed, so he kind of struggled with it, and he ended up with a left-handed TX, I think. But he's also got a Venom tuned reduced cylinder HW80, which I am very jealous of. I'm not talking like a VMAC kit in it or stuff like this. Is a proper Venom gun in the stock with all the extra black in and everything. Beautiful rifle, a properly beautiful rifle, but he doesn't want to sell it. Right, we're going to mount that scope onto this gun. So the first thing we need to do is discover what mount we want to use. So the way to do this, I have bleated on about it before, but I will tell you again. The way to do this is you get your mounts, put them onto the gun. These are quite a high set actually, but it's quite a high comb on here, so we'll see what this does. I'm running low on mounts. I've not got an awful lot of choice, so yeah, I do need to go back to the gun shop. I need to. This is a need. So I need to get some more mounts, and while I'm there, I'll have a look to see if that Whitetail Classic is still there. It's the one in, you know, the crackle finish. That one. So close your eyes, get comfortable on the gun. That's where I want to be. Right, I'm just looking underneath there, so I can see the underside of this ring, and that ring is in the bottom of this ring. So those are a fraction too high, but they're not actually too bad, because it is a comb. Not a comb over, it's a comb on there, because it is specifically for scope use. These guns were never fitted with open sights, like the TX200, like the HW97. They weren't fitted with sights. So a high comb it is. Now this is a one-piece mount. It's a low one-piece mount. So again, close my eyes, get comfortable, look through. Okay, point it towards there, get comfortable, look through. That's pretty much bob on. You can probably see my eye through the centre there. That's the right place for that. So that's good. That is good. So now that I know the height of scope mount I need, that's when I choose what scope I'm going to put onto the gun. Now I'm hoping that there's going to be enough clearance for that 45. I know there wouldn't be for the 50, for the Whitetail Classic 50 there wouldn't be. So I would have to go to a medium mount. Because if you look at the difference between those two, I want something halfway between those. If I give in to temptation and head back down the gun shop, and I wouldn't do that, would I? Doesn't sound like me. I'll have trouble finding time. I'm actually off to pack. Today is Sunday. Actually, it's Sunday, the 12th of January. That might come as a bit of a shock, because you're probably seeing this in February, I should think. The reason for that is I'm off to Paris on Tuesday for a few days with the wife, because it's just been my birthday. It's her birthday next Saturday, which will have been a month ago probably by the time you see this, but we normally go somewhere for our birthdays, and this year we're going to Paris because we've never been, bizarrely enough. Never been. It's only up the road. It's only 2 hours on the train. Incredibly fun. I love a train. Do you like a train? Comment below. I love a train, me. I'd rather go anywhere by train than by plane. And so yeah, it's 2 hours, which is 400 miles I think we are from Paris. It's 2 hours on a train. They do 200 miles an hour, the trains. And we're travelling first class. They've got a first class section which is upstairs. They're double-decker carriages on these trains, TGVs, double-decker carriages. You're upstairs. I've been on them before. You can see so much. You're whooshing along at 200 miles an hour, first class. Your seats recline. Guess how much it is return? from here to Paris. Just return first class. Nope, €42. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Let's see if this fits. Whoa, look at that. You can maybe get a fag paper between the gun and the scope, but it's on there. That's good news. That is good news. I'm happy with that. So let's position that in the approximate place. And we're going to pop the saddles onto here. Now, I'm going to put 2 screws in each saddle to start with. I don't know if saddle's right. I've always called them a saddle. I don't know. The bit on the top of the scope. The bit on the top of the scope mount that secures it to the bit underneath. It looks like a saddle. It should be called a saddle. If it isn't called a saddle, I'm going to start a petition to start calling them saddles. Where do I say? Who do I need to hand a petition in to have it discussed? That one's gone too far. So I'll pop this one in a bit. Then I shall loosen off this side. Ideally, you want them with the same gap either side. I don't know if it makes much difference in real use. It's just it drives my my CDO mad if it's not correct. Now CDO, in case you didn't know, it's like OCD but in alphabetical order. So what I want to do now is the closed eye thing again, because I want the eye relief correct for the scope. So I also want the Optima up towards the top, not over to the side. The eye relief is the distance from your eye to the scope. Okay, there is a correct part. When you look through it, your head will be in the correct position and you'll be able to see the full picture without any whiteout or blurring. So get into position, get comfortable. Right, okay. So yeah, that wants to come back towards me a little bit. There. Be good if it is there, because that's halfway between the mounts, that part there, which is important. That's pretty much. Yeah, that's good. So now I want to get the scope's cant sorted. I've mentioned this on the other videos where I'm putting scopes on. It is very important to make sure your reticule is in line with your gun. If you hold your gun on the wonk and then put your scope so it's straight for you, you're not going to get best accuracy because the crosshairs aren't perfectly above the bore. You want it to be above the bore. So get your crosshairs right to the gun, and then when you look through the scope, if it looks like it's on the wonk, you need to change your stance. That's the long and the short of that. So the way to do this, the way I'm going to do this here, I can see the dovetails, I can see the reticule, so I'm just going to change it just a tiny amount each time until the reticule, the long post, is pointing directly down and between the dovetails, like that. So that is exactly how I want it. We're going to be shooting these guns at some point when the weather gets better and when I can use my arm. So I've got March 11th, I've got surgery. I can't use my left arm for a minimum of 4 weeks after that, and I've got a year of physio after the surgery. So it's anybody's guess as yet as to how long it's going to be before I can actually cock a spring rifle, which is another reason why I'm making videos now and chucking them in the bank, as it were, scheduled on YouTube to cover me when I'm otherwise incapacitated, because there's no other way around it. I'm going to be incapacitated. I won't be able to do this. You know, that arm has to be complete. And I mean, I've got a friend who had it done at the beginning of December, and it's now mid-January. He still can't move his arm. It has to be completely immobile. Otherwise, they go to all that trouble of reattaching the tendons. You move your arm, donk, they pop off again. Quite grim. But there you go. Right, now to tighten these down, have a little feel, make sure they're the same on both sides. This one just needs a little bit of leaving up on that side so they can come down a little more on this side. So what you do now is you're just tightening them one after another in a clockwise direction. So you're going from one to the next to the next to the next. You can go anti-clockwise if you're some kind of weirdo, but clockwise is obviously better. Just a small amount on each one. We don't have to tighten these up very tight because the mount will put the pressure evenly on the scope. The rifle has a TBT kit in it, so it doesn't have much recoil anyway, and we're just using the short arm on the Allen key there until they're all of a similar tightness, and then we do the same with the ones on the front. And that's it. You know, this fitting a scope isn't difficult. You'd say it was so easy that it doesn't warrant a video, let alone 12. But the thing is, a lot of people do get it wrong. And if you get it wrong, you'll be chasing the accuracy that you know your gun has, but you won't be able to get it, and you won't know why. So it's one of those things you just need to be sure to do it correctly. You move the scope to your eye, to your head, not the other way around. You don't move your head around till you can see. You move everything so that when you pick the gun up and shoulder the gun, it's there exactly where you want it. It's natural, it works, and you don't have to try. You're not having to fight anything. But that is it for this video. Please like, subscribe, hit notifications. I will speak to you all again soon. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.